Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo is always a very interesting guest, and this is no exception. He's got an interesting battle coming up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, to be quite honest. Their offense has been struggling to score points. It cost their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, his job. How are they going to handle it? Sullivan, quarterback coach, will probably call the plays. The running back coach is going to be involved in the game planning. It's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have their new wrinkles, new twists, new looks, but it's basically the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Run the football and don't make mistakes. That's what's going to be on the table for Lou Anarumo to take care of with his defensive players. He talks about that. He talks about any adjustments that he might have to make with respect to Joe Burrow not being available at the quarterback position, a new offensive coordinator to deal with, and the Pittsburgh Steelers in general. Lou Anarumo's got a lot to talk about. Welcome once again, and we appreciate you taking time to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, as always, in our outstanding studios. And we have the best of the best as a guest, defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo with the Cincinnati Bengals. Coach, appreciate you carving time. I know it's a busy time for you. Thanks for giving us some of yours.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Lap.
So, Coach, all of a sudden, Matt Canada is gone, and Mike Sullivan is in. What does that do? How does that change your approach as you get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers upcoming on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I think I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and Coach Tomlin, they have a good feel of what they want to do on offense. I think the difference would be the play calling now without Coach Canada being gone. Certainly, it'll be different. What that'll be, we'll figure it out during the game because there's really no point of reference. So, the plays, I'm assuming, will be very similar. They're not going to change their offense on a Tuesday of game week. How they feature different guys may change, but we'll have to play that by ear and go along with it as the game progresses.
He's been around the league for a while. He's been an offensive coordinator with a couple of different organizations, the New York Giants and I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When he was with the Giants, you just missed him being on the same coaching staff. So you guys have not really coached together. But do you go back and look at what his philosophy or mindset may have been on tape that far back, or is that foolhardy and a waste of time?
No, I mean, probably glance at some games for sure, just to see the play style of how he's calling the game. But we'll see. But two quality coaches for sure. I think they made co-coordinators, if I'm not mistaken, with the running back coach. I could be wrong. It just all happened. So, but
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I think the running back coach, it's rumored that he's going to be the game plan guy, and then Sullivan's going to call the plays, but that hasn't been officially, I guess, announced yet by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm sure that'll be delayed as long as possible. But I agree. I guess what they're looking for is that boost, and when there've been coaching changes here during the season, the Raiders make a head coaching change, they get a boost. The Buffalo Bills make a change at coordinator. They feel like they get a boost, and I guess that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for at this point in time. When you look at Pittsburgh, do you see much difference with the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively than you've seen over the last few years?
No, I mean, I think you always go back to what they've always been at their core and what Coach Tomlin wants to be able to do, and that's run the football. They've got two quality backs. Warren is really coming on. He had a 74-yard run last week. Was a great run against the Browns. Najee Harris has always been a productive back in our league. So they've got skill at wide out, so we got to just make sure that, we take care of business.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, Pickens, they don't have a receiver in the top 50 in the league in terms of number of receptions. I mean, Pickens is up there in yards. He's 27th with 604 yards. He's averaging over 16 yards a catch, but he's only had 37 receptions. You wonder, I mean, will he be more of an emphasis? Will he be more of something that Sullivan is going to try to get the ball in his hands a little bit more. Warren has got 34 catches. So, I mean, his scrimmage yards are very significant, and his first downs are significant. I mean, this kid is he's not only run the ball well for him, he's been a pretty good catch out of the backfield as well. He's pretty tough, isn't he?
He is. He's a talented guy, runs really hard, breaks a lot of tackles, and there's a good reason why they're trying to feed him the ball both in the run game and the pass game. He's a really good screen runner. They do a good job with him, and the tight end Freiermuth is back and healthy, so I'm sure they'll try to get him more involved. So, we'll see how it goes.
Kenny Pickett at the quarterback position. I mean, he obviously I think only threw for like a little over 100 yards against the Cleveland Browns, and the feeling with people that I've talked to in Pittsburgh was, that one of the reasons the move was made was he was on a decline. But this kid obviously has had he had a good college career. I mean, he was a high draft pick. He's pretty good at quarterback, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to judge. They played against a really good defense on Sunday in Cleveland on the road, and the game was a little the way it went. They were struggling a little bit, but I think that Kenny's a quality quarterback and presents problems with his legs, and he's got skill at wideout, as I've mentioned. So he can pull it down and run it if he needs to, if there's trouble, and he's done a good job throwing those 9 balls to those guys. So we got to be alert for that.
And offensively, in the red zone, they've only gotten in the red zone 19 times, which is fewest in the NFL. 9 touchdowns, second fewest in the NFL. But they've only gotten no points in the red zone just one time, which is tied for best in the National Football League. When they get down there, they score, but they've just had difficulty, getting in the red zone on a consistent basis, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned, that's the key thing that we already made a point to the guys about is they're making the most of their opportunities when they do get in there, and so we're gonna have to play good red zone in every situation that we get into. But it's certainly with these guys, they do take advantage of it.
And the other thing they do real well is take the ball security aspect. They take care of the football. Both the Bengals and the Steelers are tied for fewest giveaways in the National Football League with just 8, which is pretty impressive. So they're plus 11 in the turnover ratio, number 1 in the NFL. The Bengals are plus 10, tied for second best in the National Football League. That's what it's going to boil down to in these division games, isn't it? Turnovers are massive.
Yeah, I think so, and we want to keep. We unfortunately weren't able to get any takeaways last week, so we've got to get back on track in that regard and create some this week, and it just sets up our offense in such good position, hopefully, and gives us an opportunity. So that opportunity to score. So that's what we're looking to do.
12 interceptions for your defense, tied for third most in the NFL, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have 11 interceptions, tied for fourth most in the NFL. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of similarities and some key stats here, obviously. What about how pleased are you with how things have gone overall? I know there's been the last couple of weeks too many big plays, too many explosives. I think it's like 15 or 16 explosives, whatever it is, in the last couple of football games, and obviously there's probably different reasons for them. If there were just one reason, it'd be easily correctable, but is it all correctable?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as you mentioned, we made a big point yesterday with the guys about the explosive plays and how they're just too many of them, both in the run game and the pass game, and it's stuff that we can correct certainly from a technique standpoint and help them out some with some calls. But I just think that we're obviously aware of it. The players are aware of it, and it's something that we can't continue to do that and win games. So we've got to make sure we nip that in the bud right now.
So if every time you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm sure there's your checklist of things during the course of the week. When you boil it all down, what are 1 or 2 common denominators when you've had successful outings against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach?
Well, it's making them one-dimensional, make them throw the ball, stop the power run game that they have. Force them to throw it, and then just be good on their routes that have shown up over the years. Make sure we do a good job nailing that, and as you just mentioned, making sure we don't give up any explosives, whether it's in the screen game, which they have shown this year, the run game that showed up last week, and then the ability that they have with the passes down the field to their guys.
Finally, I guess the offensive line, that's always been, a source of pride for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They always try to put good offensive lines out there as a group. How's this one performing so far this season, Coach?
Well, I think it's coming along. I think, the rookie tackle seems to be playing well. They added the guard in free agency. And the guys that they've had from last year seem to be really coming together. So I think it's a good group that seems to be gelling at the right time for them. And, they're big across the board, a bunch of solid run blockers for sure. And they're doing a good job specifically passing games off in the pass game. So, I think they're coming together.
And finally, Coach, everybody knows Joe Burrow, obviously, with that wrist injury, is not going to be able to participate in this football game or for the rest of the season. Jake Browning does a lot of similar things. They're similar style players. I'm not saying that Jake Browning's Joe Burrow, but when you have a change at the quarterback position, does it alter your mindset at all, how you approach, how you might call a football game?
You try not to. There's obviously going to be a level of things that we need to adjust to. But I think at the end of the day, as you mentioned, Jake is a fierce competitor. Our guys know that. The whole team knows that. He's gonna give us his all. And we certainly going to do the best to support him, however that shakes out. But we're excited to play with and for Jake.
Tell you, Coach, can't wait for this one. Big division matchup at Paycor. Take care of business at home. Win those games at Paycor Stadium. That'll be a big step toward getting where you want to be, and that's in the playoffs.
No question.
Appreciate your time as always, sir.
Thanks,
Put together a good one.
Always. Thank you for having me.
You the man.
Bye-bye.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.